Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. It's April 12th, 2026. Top of the morning to ya, or whatever time it is for you. I hope the day is treating you kindly, everyone. This curator is complaining about mental instability, and he was told that they did mental magic over the people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for over 20 years. These people have been doing their best to get people seen as though they were unstable, insane, trying to get the high value people institutionalized with this stuff. So it's back on them now. Over 20 years of daily rituals for undoing the mind and the life of others. So there's a big problem now. People are losing their minds. They're getting into car accidents. They're suffering from anxiety. They're not able to get it together. Every unstable desire that they had for others is now upon them. Every relationship failure, every desire for them to be lonely forever and suffering, yeah, it's all back on them now. And what they had desired for others is their new cycle. So it doesn't pay to wish harm on others. And I guess, wishing that the harm go back to its sender, I don't think is a bad thing, because it's not wishing harm on somebody. It's just wishing to reject the gift, that's the so-called gift that somebody is trying to place over your life or in your life. I don't think there's anything wrong with rejecting a gift from an unseen interferer. Or a seen one. We don't have to accept every gift that is being offered to us, especially when those gifts are tainted with ill intent. It's going real quiet. Today is day 4 since the return of this stuff. It's very quiet. These folks and their insanity, their instability that they have been working so hard to lay upon others in the world is tearing their lives apart. They're heartbroken because they've been cut out of your energy. They've been cut out of the High Priestess's energy. And we've got a Knight of Swords here. He knows the truth. Knight of Swords, King of Wands, King of Pentacles. They all know the truth about your balance. The King of Swords is here. So, yeah, they know this 3 of Cups, they want to work with you because you are the exact opposite of what these people had tried to magically portray you to be. So in the central energy, what do we got going on? Planetary system, everybody's being restructured, recategorized, whatever. As I mentioned in the last video, Spirit had stated that the gatekeepers, or those people that had been in positions of authority regarding advancement and graduation, they had been filing false reporting to the ancestors while siphoning out the graduate's gift and then recycling them back through for another period of suffering. So the Emperor is here in the central energy, taking charge. He knows what's been going on. He's like, that ain't cool. All right. So in the challenge position, I just put that back. All right. In the challenge position, 8 of Pentacles. So we've got Mastery, Magician. You've mastered yourself. You could be a creator. There's judgment being called. So you've mastered the magician in you or in others, and you're calling judgment here. For what they've been doing to the divine feminines. You are the creatress, and these masculines of the previous chapter had tried to claim your ability and then claim that you had no ability. But it's always been you here, divine feminine, mastering yourself. And they've been filing deceitful reports and then knocking you back down for another life of suffering while they have claimed your mastery, your honor. You're not out here messing people up with this energy, but those who wish to claim your energy are or have. That is being put to rest. They wanted everybody to be institutionalized with this insanity, and it's happening to them now. They're losing everything for coming for you. In the subconscious, we've got the 7 of Cups. There could be a lot of choices. The Emperor may see the illusions that have been wrapping the mental body of the divine feminine. They've been covering her in the blame and the shame of whatever it is that they've been doing in her energy, but it was never her actually doing it. So they've been using the energy of a divine feminine master to portray themselves as masters. The Chariot is here in the recent past. You could have elevated, ascended, you've risen up. These divine masculines are saying that as long as the divine feminine has control over her mind, she's not a basket case. She's out there holding temperance energy, and this is a powerful of light and dark, right? And you're right here in the middle, getting slapped up one side with hate and slapped up with the other side with love, with rejection, with acceptance, and it's like, and we have to be tempered in the middle of this, right? So that we can consciously choose which energy we're going to reside in, or perhaps amplify with our own magnetism of emotion. The Hermit is here. So you've got a Chariot, you've got a guaranteed exit. You're out of here due to the research that you have done and the research that's been done on you. The wheel is turning. Intentions and expectations. Well, that wasn't very smooth. Oh, I threw them all on the ground. So I'm just gonna, the 7 of Pentacles. So you persevered. You're persevering. There's been research done. You persevered. You are persevering. The Page of Swords is here. Transforming. There could be some kind of metamorphosis happening to the youngers due to the truth of what you have persevered through. Somebody is feeling trapped in victimhood. So this illusion, or you persevered through some kind of an illusion here. So you're coming into your reward. There is a transformation happening here for those youngers. Somebody's in a 8 of Swords energy. They're feeling trapped. Well, what they did, you know, it's the magic coming back. And it's just terrible that this tribe taught their members to do this, to plant these kinds of seeds in the world. In the garden, they planted these kinds of seeds. Somebody taught people how to garden improperly. In the near future, we've got the 3 of Swords. So yeah, again, somebody is in a heartache. They're being separated from the High Priestess. They're being separated from the higher power, from the great mystery. There is a trauma and healing being done here by this High Priestess, this clairvoyant. She's got all the clairs. Somebody might read this as though there is separation for the high priestess, but somebody's being separated because of them trying to separate out the high priestess and then keep her creatress skills to their self. We got the Hierophant here looking at this. So he's looking at this separation of this high priestess. What's going on with this in the environment? Is this a battle? We've got the Four of Pentacles, prudence. You're making an investment. Look, we've got, you are weary. Your soul is weary. You're like, I'm so done. We got to get this foundation under freaking security. There is security for the foundation here. It's conservative. And we've got the 10 of Cups here, harmony and happiness for the family. So there's 10 cups, and 4 of these pentacles here are being used to hold the foundation for the 10 of Cups, right? So it's a frugal foundation filled with 10 cups, filled with love. And I'm old, so I've had some experiences in life, but it's been my experience that in hindsight, when I had nothing, I had the most happiness. When I had little responsibility, I had the most ease. So a lot of people may see a lack of material wealth as scarcity, as peasantry. But the truth of the matter is that in those spaces, that's where the love is most plentiful. And the sharing and the compassion is more freely gifted. It's odd that it should work out that way, but it is. So the outgoing energy, we've got the 5 of Pentacles, hardship. This is children on that card. The children have been trapped, bundled up, and it looks like this could be the mother, a parent, all wrapped up in that blanket, and the child is poking her head out. She's like, what's going on? So somebody's children could be wondering, like, what is going on? There's a material loss. Because of your rebirth. Because of the energy of the sun in you, you carry the light of the sun in you. Page of Wands. You're very enthusiastic. You've got a mind of an apprentice. You could be dealing here with justice. Justice may be happening. Somebody's inspired. Somebody's feeling enthusiastic over justice, the law of cause and effect. Somebody's having a tower here, which is bringing about a new beginning, a new opportunity for a Page of Pentacles. Could be coming from a King of Pentacles. Proper guidance, and that is closing out this cycle. You're in the 7 of Wands energy. You persevered according to the truth. You're coming into your reward. And somebody is in a 5 of Cups energy. Disappointment, because your reward is the 10 of Pentacles and the 6 of Swords. You get to move on and release the baggage that has been holding you back, that has been lying about you, that has been filing false reports to your ancestry, and then stealing the inheritance, those initiate and ascension rewards from your family. Lifetime after lifetime, they have taken so much out of your life and out of the Star Nation Soul Tribe that you were meant to bring these rewards and ascension gifts to. These lower vibrational jackasses were stealing it from you and your upper dimensional family by lying about you. High Priestess, Hierophant, Emperor. You could look at this as the father, the mother, and the son. the creators, the original family of creators, calling judgment here. Take it as it resonates. Okay, now everybody in a skin suit, we've been trapped here for many cycles, and so we've had many different identities, and I think that this is why people sometimes are in alignment with these other deities and entities, because they may have very well worn the identity at some point. They could have been imbued by the entity. They could have imbued the entity, somehow mixed the energies, had some kind of an entanglement. We've been here a long time. And these other entities, so they've had everybody energetically entangled via this reckless sexual thing that's gone on cycle after cycle. Many of these high priestesses and empresses and such had been sacrificed as an infant. I heard the other day these ones said that they had sacrificed a high priestess 17 times as an infant. So not a toddler, not a young child, but an infant. So, and they've crucified you, they've roasted you in the bowl, they have burned you alive many times. I mean, there's been horrific, torturous trauma inflicted upon the soul of the spirit. Now, fortunately, the spirit can remain childlike, pure, while the soul carries the burden of the trauma and then has to somehow transmute that. There's been a great disconnect. This trauma, apparently, when it happens upon a child, it separates the Holy Spirit from the vessel, because the vessel has been desecrated, so the Holy Spirit can't reside in it, right? And I think that that's why they get the children, to separate them from the Holy Spirit and then to get them trapped in this loop of sexual deviancy. So, but your source connection is still very, very powerful. They shut down the minds and the third eye of a lot of people in a very heinous way, lifetime after lifetime. They damaged it with the intention of damaging it forever in the spiritual body, so that when you come into the flesh, that you're losing your gifts and losing access to these things. They really put forth a great effort to make certain that these high priests and high priestesses would not come back online. The Emperor is here. He's a divine masculine. He's got authority here. He's restoring stability. He could be dealing with the hardship here. Inspiration. He might be offering some kind of inspiration. Number 10. Bam! This is a burst of inspiration right out of the blue. You have been gifted with a great idea, so you should run with it. If you're not sure that it's really the right move, imagine yourself having completed all the steps and see how you feel being there. Be open to a great idea just hitting you when you least expect it. So the Emperor is inspired. The Emperor could be offering inspiration. In the challenge position, we have the Eight of Pentacles. This is a female on the card and also on the Magician. So the Emperor could be inspired by this mastery of this divine feminine in her creatress mode. There's judgment being called here, an awakening. There's clarity over what they've been doing to the female creatresses, holding them back. They've been holding back the powerful female creatresses, defiling them, desecrating them, and filing false reports that they are unworthy, that they are malicious, that they are violent, that they wanted to create war with their gifts. And that was a lie. That was these unsavory devils tapping and tagging the energy and then using that energy to do baneful magic while blaming it on divine feminine. Now there's a lot of divine feminine, well, I guess they chose not to be so divine when they decided to go ahead and work against these powerful creatresses. They called it a competition, but there was no competition. It was trying to stifle creation itself in the form of the mother, out of jealousy, out of a need for greed and power. Imagine. So they're under judgment with what they've been doing to the mental bodies of the creatresses. They've been running insanity through the mind, trying to get them institutionalized and seen as unfit. It was an infiltration, it was a manipulation, and it was deceit. Lifetime after lifetime, they've been running soap operas, radio stations of insanity, of hate, of anger, of powerful, depression regarding rejection, unworthiness. It's been a soap opera that they've been running through the minds of these high value people. Now, the thoughts that they're running through the consciousness don't belong to the heart or the energy that resides in the temple, but they've been running this soap opera. They've been streaming it with their stupid Wi-Fi technology into the very delicate and sensitive transmitter receiver of the divine. Receiving messages. You weren't meant to be infiltrated with this freaking Wi-Fi AI tech soap opera of freaking suffering. That's not the message you're here to pick up on, but it's the message that they've been force feeding consciousness for a long time. And then they've been filing the false report that was what you were making, and that was a lie. There's firsthand witness and testimony of what these ones have been doing to the mental bodies of these divine women. God is here, witnessing firsthand the rhetoric being forced in on the mind and on the heart space. It's all seen very clearly as what it is: an infiltration and interference and an attempt to deceitfully convict a very high value soul and creatress and a creator of this soap opera they're trying to run through their very sensitive transmitter receiver. These thoughts and ideas don't belong to you. This emotional garbage doesn't belong to you. You're a high value, high priestess, hierophant, creatress, a master. And they've been trying to claim that their soap opera, their Wi-Fi transmission is who you are. They've been getting away with it for centuries. The illusion has cracked. They can see very clearly what they've been filling your mind with. This fantasy. You are a being of love. These are all cups. You've got all these cups, but you've got these folks dumping in the illusions over the mind of the divine feminine. They've been trying to cover your imagination in their nasty rhetoric. Doesn't belong to you. It never did. You're just the transmitter receiver, and you're picking up on the interferences of this realm. And the thing about it is that once it's discovered in you, and once you and your witness, your helper, God, Goddess, whoever that is for you, once you can figure out how to banish this illusion, this covering over your own field of awareness, then you can help others do it too. Once you can make your temple a very uncomfortable place for a principality to try to force into, then you can implement those strategies on a wider collective. But first you have to research, you have to investigate, you have to trial and error certain herbs and certain dosages, and you have to see what happens when you apply the salves or the creams or the herbs or whatever to counter these black magic and demonic attacks. Now, some people say, well, why don't you just command it away? Make it go away. Use your powers and your authority. And that's really great. And people can do that, but some people can't. They need help transmuting and blocking this kind of stuff. And nobody, the regular folks don't do magic. The High Priestess, the Hierophant, they don't do magic. They simply are creators and creatresses naturally. They don't need to call upon any entity to do that. They're source connected. So grounded. So you are, look, so the emperor can see that your mind was covered in this weird, wacky illusion, and how you grounded it. You grounded it. And now there's clarity. You are necessary. Your ability to manage yourself well under these severe attacks is getting you a chariot, a ticket out of this mess, because you are a master teacher now on how to manage the mind in these atrocious magical attacks. And it's very difficult. And some of these attacks are so very heinous that it's near impossible to pull up out of the magic. It just runs so heavy and so hard through the mind. But you've done it. So you're getting this chariot due to the research that has been done, that you've done and that others have done on you. The wheel is turning. The tables are flipping. The magic that they have attempted to stick onto the consciousness of divine feminine is going back on them, because you are not crazy. You are source connected, and you're receiving the fruits of the divine, and it is your purpose to bring these fruits here, to manifest them here in this realm. And you've got folks here that were very lazy, and they wanted to claim the fruits that you were receiving without actually having the connection, by faking it, by tapping into your mind with this reckless sex connection. I swear, I think these entities are parasitical. There's like little bugs or whatever, and they're like little worms, and they get in there and they start networking like these little graphene whatever, and they start talking to each other, these little parasites. You can feel them mostly in the calf muscle when you're sleeping. You wake up a lot of the times with these twitches or these muscle spasms or your feet cramping. And I have, through my research over the last over 20 years, what I've discovered it could be is these entities getting on board your chariot, your light body, your Merkaba, in order to go up and down to the source connection that you have. So when COVID hit and they outlawed ivermectin and these parasitical cleanses, that's why there's this thing. So I personally, and I haven't implemented this in my life, but it would be a good idea to kind of rotate throughout the year the various parasitical cleanses, because not every herb works for every species of worm, right? You got to get those things out of your brain, out of your body, out of your vessel. They're like those invisible viruses that just kind of run around in the temple and networking together. And if they go unchecked, then they just populate. And they consume the soft tissues of the joints. So, and then they piss and they shit in there. And then it leaves these little glass-like fibers that causes like a bone spur type of a sensation in the joint itself. And I don't know why science has not allowed the people to know about this particular thing. I don't know why they don't treat it. They know it occurs. There's information on the Google over the last 20 years, and I found it. So, and I don't remember the links or none of that, but it's there. So you listen, you get in your chariot, you've done your research, the wheel is turning, you're listening, you're getting the fruits of the source, your source connected, you're very much at peace. You were able to hold yourself grounded, hold yourself calm within the storm of these illusions that they were trying to cast over your mind regarding love. You persevered through it. You're coming into your reward. And we've got a Page of Swords here who's curious about what you've done. They want to transform, or they're undergoing a transformation now with an Eight of Swords, trapped, self-entrapment. Whatever magic they did is coming back on them, and they're undergoing a transformation. They're undergoing a transformation because you persevered through their attempt to try to take your reward, to try to tap your mind and claim your gifts. You're very patient here, so you're being asked to be patient. This Page of Swords is learning the truth about your transformation. They're having to undergo it. It's a life and death thing. It very much is a death to the old self, and then a rebirth. So anybody that's undergoing this right now, I wish for you all this strength and the courage that the world has to offer. And an attitude of gratitude for the suffering and what it reveals to you about your internal mechanism. And I pray that you survive, so that you can actually come into what it is here that you've been wanting. So we got the three of Swords here. There's somebody's heartbroken. Somebody's heartbroken over a betrayal. So there's been a betrayal of a high priestess. Somebody's heartbroken, a betrayal. They betrayed a high priestess. Somebody's getting divorced because they betrayed a high priestess. They're uneasy. They brought unease to her mind. They were watching her. Look at this. There's so much in this card. I can't see it all. This is ancient. This is ancient stuff. This has been going on a long time. You've got the little bird there that's been watching you. There's like a little window or something. You've got this eye. They're uneasy. They've been watching you. Somebody brought trauma to a high priestess. They're uneasy. Somebody betrayed a high priestess. They're uneasy because the Hierophant is here. This could be his wife. Somebody betrayed her in the past. They've been effing with this creatress, this master creatress's mind for centuries, filing false reports about her so that they could keep her creatress skills here trapped and then claim as though they belonged to them. They've been messing with her mind. They're under judgment. There are there's 5 women on this judgment card. There's at least 5 high priestesses that have been kept away from their Hierophant. Gatekeepers, Hierophant, gatekeepers. The Hierophant is dealing with the gatekeepers. These Hierophants are pissed. They've been RAPing and torturing their high priestesses lifetimes after lifetimes while filing false reports with those ancestors that were expecting them to come home with this knowledge, this wisdom, these ascension gifts, this extra authority. So now these nasty jacks that have been out here doing baneful magic, they got the big kahunas coming down on their asses right now for what they've been doing to their high priestesses. Big, big trouble. They're source connected high priestesses. Look at all those beautiful gifts, those beautiful fruits, that beautiful peace, that ease. So the Hierophant's dealing with the gatekeepers. We've got the 4 of Pentacles here in the environment. Circle. We got a 10 of Cups here. Harmony, happiness, celebration, childlike. So those who were able to remain childlike, loving, those spirits, your Holy Spirit, your dream self, your innocent childlike nature. So to me, I'm thinking of it like your spirit is like the eternal childlike being that these entities keep birthing into a flesh suit, and then they like take you out. They like siphon your, like say you're supposed to live 50 years, right? And they take you out as an infant. That means they've just harvested 50 years of life force and all the gifts and all of the wealth that was supposed to go along with it if you were going to be a business owner or whatever. So they've been harvesting it out like that. Your 10 of Pentacles. It could be that now this 10 of Pentacles is going to you because you maintained through lifetime after lifetime of this heinous betrayal and torment. You're getting it because you were able to remain childlike. Somebody's in a 5 of Pentacles binding here. The adult seems to be buried in the covers while their ancestors they're out looking around and there's nothing but darkness there. Abandonment, struggle. They abandoned you. They could have bound your mother sometime in the past. Months ago, I heard a masculine say, "You're just like your mother." It could be that somebody had bound your mother and that you got your head up out of that curse and that you broke through or something. Let's get clarification. What's going on? You could have flipped the tables. You could have been the curse breaker. Let's see. What's with this 5 of Pentacles? What's going on with that? Shadow. The shadow contracts. Yeah, so they bound you in a 5 of Pentacles. They got your mother. They bound her up in this thing with this one of these child contracts of the shadow. So you're the generational curse breaker. It could be that somebody is in a 5 of Pentacles for binding you to the shadow. The Magician is making their move. You are a magician. This is, look, you're the creatress. And you're here with your Hierophant, who is busting some gatekeeper ass right now, flipping the tables. You were able to take care of yourself. You were able to remain joyful and loving despite the shadowy darkness that had always pushed in on you. The attacks that you had in the past, you are now protected in the secret garden. Those who had attacked you in the past are now protecting the secret garden. You are the healer and you are bringing about a healing. So it could be that those who had attacked you, those who desperately needed a healing, have received it because that's what you're here to do. But you had those nasty pimps of the past that was binding you to this atrocious, heinous trauma that was affecting everyone in a very negative way. These masculines weren't able to heal. They needed their divine counterpart. And now they have them. And those asshats that had been cracking your heart in that ritual, busting up your beautiful emerald love heart space, and then making little necklaces out of it and wearing it as though they had these little teeny tiny gems. Where is that card? Where is that card? Because that kind of just pisses me off really bad. This one. So they were putting death to the high priestess. You were the teacher. You are the teacher here, right? And they were like, that love is just too big. That high priestess's love is just too damn big. So they were breaking your heart, shattering your heart with magic. And they did it recently, trying to bust it up into little tiny pieces so that they could wear the necklace and say that they were the love and that you were the nothing. And this has been going on for a long time, High Priestess. Teachers, you were here to teach the people how to be this beautiful love. And you got these religious folks out there that were like, oh no. So they would do magical shatterings over your heart chakra. They would damage the Merkaba, the light body, the chariot, linking you to source. And then they would say, oh, well, this is my love. I created it. I'm the one with the connection. That's what they would say. But no. Now you've got that. You've got your abundance is protected. Because you have the light of the sun in you. There's forgiveness here for whatever the past false allegations and reports were done. You were being sacrificed over and over and over again based on false reports, so that they could shatter your heart chakra, make a little necklace out of it, and say that they were the teachers, but that nobody could get the lesson right because everybody was acting like a hoe. Well, it was what they were being driven into. Low vibrational existences. The temperance angels, the high priestess and high priest, here to bring balance. They kept shattering the freaking heart chakra. Now, every time things fell apart for them, they would make an offering of somebody who had knowledge. But now there are boundaries because they left you stranded here, and maybe now they're going to be stranded. They are afraid because you transformed from the fear. You evolved through it. You've got your robe, your white robe, and your wings, and the children are there with you. High priest, high priestess, you are in your leadership role. And these people are under judgment for these devils wearing masks, pretending that they were wearing the necklace of your broken and shattered heart space. Yeah, high priestess is the teacher. And so their experiences is very fleeting. They were going off in the background like, we're the teachers with this religious facade and whatever, while you were sleeping. But you're no longer sleeping. They appreciated you. You served them everything they needed, and they trapped you. They shattered your heart, held you trapped there, and then told the world that it was them that was serving them. But they were just pulling little nuggets out of your heart space and wearing it like it was theirs. But it was always you. It was always your strength in isolation that held everything in balance. For a whole community. You were the caretaker in the past. And they kept sacrificing you and then claiming that you weren't doing your job, that they had to do it. What a bunch of nasties, man. They abandoned you, they cut you off, they tortured you, they ran insanity through your mind, lifetime after lifetime. They made false reports so that you weren't able to keep your shit together when you were just doing exactly what you were supposed to do as a super sensitive, organic, original transmitter receiver of the divine. You were here to receive messaging and then to manifest it. And the problem is that you had devils that hijacked the system and then shattered your Merkaba and then kind of assumed that identity by wearing a little necklace with your freaking shattered heart. What a bunch of caboons, man. Caboon. I like that word. You caboon. All right, so the Emperor is here, and he's inspired, or he's inspiring others. It could be, yes, it sucks, and no, you're not dying. Healing feels like garbage before it feels like growth. So they're inspired by your healing. They're inspired by, yeah, it sucked. Yeah, it felt like dying. And yeah, maybe the old you is absolutely gone. But you're resilient, you're patient through this struggle. And you've reclaimed your peace. You've deleted that which was trying to destroy you. And you've reclaimed your peace. So this Emperor is very inspired by your ability to be patient and be resilient through the struggle and to bring closure. And he could be helping you with this too. Blocking the number, reclaiming your peace. He could be like shutting down these little hidden gateways that these infiltrators had, these parasites, maybe these worms or whatever entity it is. I don't know how they've got this attachment. Now, I've heard these nasties talking about the Merkaba, like if there's medicine, these synthetic medicines, which may have graphene in it that is programmable by thought or frequency technology to mess with the thought patterns of the mind and such. He could be helping you shut that down. Whatever these things are, bringing closure, detaching it, releasing them, reclaiming the peace. This is beautiful. So in the challenge position, you're a master. You've got the mind of an apprentice. You're very diligent about what it is you're studying. You don't give up. And while it may look like chaos to others, and maybe it looks like chaos to you, that's what creation is. It's a big bang. It's like an idea, and you go boom. And these guys are under judgment for what they were doing to the minds of the creatresses. The all-seeing eye can see clearly now. You are the masters, and you are the ones that were being tapped and tagged and hijacked. Your gifts, your energy was being used to maintain this illusion. We had Nasty Jack, Snake, holy moly freaking gigolo out there rolling around, dipping and flicking and tagging and shagging and whatever else, in order to tap and tag the mind of these beautiful creatresses. Yeah, they're in trouble. They're in trouble because they were keeping them apart from their high priest. They were messing with the minds of these Hierophant's wives, man, while defiling and desecrating their womanhood, their sacred essence. As infants, lifetime after lifetime. Don't trust chaos. We're not recycling heartbreak like plastic bottles. Stop trying to heal in the same place that broke you. You've escaped these cycles. You've been liberated. And they're under judgment for how they've been effing with your mind. Trying to make it seem as though you should be institutionalized. None of these thoughts belonged to you. It was all a freaking Wi-Fi soap opera that was running through you. Often coupled with some kind of a water tamping, some kind of a hardening in the occult I've discovered. It's called hardening the waters. And that's where that frequency, that graphene, that they say if there's medicine in the temple, that they can use it to sabotage the Merkaba, which is the light body, which is the chariot connecting you to source. And they do that by shattering the energy of the heart chakra, this beautiful, gigantic love that you have inside of you. They shatter it into little pieces, and they make little necklaces like this, and they say, oh yes, this is all the love. Yeah. See, I'm the teacher. But they wanted to lower the bar because they didn't want to do the damn work. They didn't want to develop their own heart into this beautiful gem. They wanted to break the others' hearts and make little teeny tiny stones out of it, and then wear the necklace on the outside and then pretend that they had the authority to be the teacher, even though that beautiful little thing did not come from the inside. They're just wearing it from somebody whose heart they magically shattered. They did not want these divine women to raise the bar because they're masters. They exceeded these others that were trying to keep them down. You exceeded them by far, and they're embarrassed. You were able to stay grounded during the illusions, and it sucked, and it felt like you were dying. And this emperor is here inspired by you, like, what the F, man? Hug a tree, hug a tree. You may actually go hug trees. You may actually go out into the forest, hug trees when these people are trying to shatter your heart space, and you may say, Mother, take whatever this entity is off of me. And she does, man. And she alchemizes it, and she turns it into this green chloroform that at some later point you can add to your water, which will put the oxygen back into your blood. And it's a beautiful symbiosis that people have forgotten about. Messy does not mean powerless. Just because you don't fit the model that these nasty jacks tried to produce for you, just because they said you were a failure because you weren't clean enough, you weren't proper enough, you didn't wear high heels or whatever. And excuse me if you do. I'm not saying nothing. Some of us just don't. But you're definitely a high priestess, and they've been keeping you trapped here in this mess, thinking that this mess would get you rejected forever. But the fact of the matter is that even though it felt like you were dying, you didn't. These guys had you on what they said was an impossible life path, and you came out of it looking like shit. Or feeling like it. Maybe you're like looking like you just came through a freaking hurricane. And you're like roaring with the storm of it, right? But you are fully grounded. While your hair is blazing and you're levitating and the freaking storm is whipping around you, you are very much grounded and powerful. Settled in the chaos. Chaos is your superpower. And while the outside world looks in and they say, she's chaos, and that's all part of transmutation. That's part of alchemy. You got to feel it to heal it. And it isn't pretty, man. And it doesn't feel good. Sometimes it feels like you're dying. And you literally do become somebody new. So you've stopped giving idiots spiritual credit. They got to get out there and do the work. They got to go have some internal explosions, put themselves back together. Stand up for what is right. Don't let nasty freaking Jack shatter your heart and wear it like a freaking trophy around their neck and claim your authority and your ability to teach people how to put yourself back together and remain strong and powerful when they're trying to desperately tear you apart, make you a mess. Well, I'm sorry. Earth-altering storms don't always look pretty, but they can definitely make change that is necessary. So this emperor is no longer giving credit to they're no longer giving spiritual credit to idiots. Not everyone is a lesson. Some people are just dumb. They don't want to do the work. They can't go through a heart shattering and then put themselves back together. They refuse to. Instead, they're out there causing more heart shatterings for others so that they can don more necklaces. And that's where this stupid material wealth comes in. Oh, I got to have more necklaces. I got to have more necklaces. I got to have more stuff. Because that means I'm worth more, right? But anybody who is truly powerful knows that the true power comes in simplicity. You can't carry a bunch of shit around with you and then weather a storm. Because all that stuff is going to be flying around within that tornado and it's going to be smacking you up alongside the head. You really got to get it out of you. You got to release it. You got to release it. And it's messy. It's messy. You got to release it. We got the Chariot here. So you are making progress. You're making forward movement with this research, with this inner guidance. Inwardly connected and witnessed. You're turning the wheel on this fortune. You're listening. You're getting the fruits of source coming right in. These are like what are those? Those are like little raspberries, and I don't know if those are blueberries or whatever, but you're getting fruits from source. And you got these others out there that they were given spiritual credit, but they didn't go through a shattering. They didn't put themselves back together. They're like, oh, well, I look the part. I'm so super cute. But they don't have the information that comes from annihilation and a recreation. And that's what you've been doing, Divine Feminine, for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. You have been through this freaking storm of annihilation, of chaos, and then recreation, reincarnation, re-pushing the love up the hill, redoing it, re-grounding, trying to bring balance and temperance to this realm, because this is your responsibility as a freaking high priestess. And they've been keeping you apart from your Hierophant because they didn't. Man, you on your own are too freaking powerful. You've outdone them lifetime after lifetime. You've succeeded where everybody else failed, and they did not want you coming up against with your Hierophant, who's actually done the same. They can't have you both coming together. What then? Oh my goodness. Well, you did. You came together. And messy does not mean powerless. Messy means the storm is here to reform every damn thing. Let go already. Let go already. So you're listening to the fruits, and these guys are saying, let go already. You got clarity. You've been released. Even your cards when you're single, let go. These people gotta let go. They should never have been. This is a tribe. And what it appears to me, this is a tribe that you were married into or something long ago. And they've held you trapped here in these cycles. Apparently, they were told by this low vibrational devil or God or whatever that if they treated you poorly enough, that they could keep you trapped forever, and that they would be able to pull off of your psyche, your gifts, your intelligence, your love forever, while shattering your heart and leaving you with next to nothing in a pitiful, sorrowful pile. And they thought that that was going to be the way to success, the way to win. They had to keep you down because you kept surpassing them mile by mile by mile. And they couldn't have that. These are men, egotistical, prideful men. And you're so powerful, and yet you're childlike, and that's where the power is, a child of the divine. You're not here to hurt anybody. You're here to create magical, wonderful things. Like rainbows and more sunshine. You've got the mind of an apprentice. You're very serious about adding value to your soul that can help you and, create solutions for things that have plagued you that you can then turn around and utilize to help others in the world that may not have any awareness of these things. So you're a researcher here doing research on things that you probably despise so that you can bring assistance and temperance to the realm, stability. As a high priest and a high priestess, what you here are to do. So the Seven of Pentacles, so you've got perseverance. And because you have persevered, you're coming into your reward. So this Page of Swords is undergoing some kind of a transformation. They're in an Eight of Swords victimhood feeling. And it could be that whatever they did to you, trying to bring you an undoing, is undoing them. They're undergoing a transformation. So there's patience. Somebody's being asked to be patient. Maybe you are being patient. Your reward is coming. It's like, let go already. They don't want to let go. They got to let go of the consciousness. It doesn't belong to them. This family that you were in, they had polluted your mind, and then they had kept shattering your heart and wearing these little gems, acting as though the love that you were bringing to them belonged to them. And they kept doing that to you. It's so terrible. They kept saying that you were messy and that you were a slob, that you were a peasant, you didn't know how to take care of yourself. They're very arrogant. Very arrogant. And they themselves would never be able to do for themselves the things that they claim that they do. They have to have servants and such, right? Or other people paying the cost for their darkness. So patience. This is professional situationship advice. Invest in therapy, not texting back. Healing, wisdom, and growth. So what's happening now is the growth that you experienced, the path that made you feel as though you were dying, that really sucked, the path that offered you resilience, that you gained through being patient, during this struggle. You're able to finally lay it to rest and reclaim your peace and bring closure to it. So now you've got a Page of Swords. It's undergoing this same transformation. They have to walk the block. They got to do what you went through. So they got to go get therapy. They got to start the healing process. They got to do the work that you did. They just wanted to skip the work. They wanted to take the reward and pretend that they had done the work. But no, it didn't work this time. And I don't know if that's just a degradation of their own magical skills and abilities, or if that's just arrogance. I don't know. But somehow you were able to get through it. So we got a Three of Swords here. There's a heartbreak over or a separation from a High Priestess. Somebody's heartbroken. They betrayed a High Priestess. They feel betrayed. There's unease here. Unfollow equals self-care. They're uneasy. They're uneasy because she's free. They're stalking her. They're obsessed. This comparison, the fake you is comparing themselves. They're uneasy. They betrayed you. They're getting cut off from you. They're heartbroken over this High Priestess being connected to her Hierophant here. Somebody's uneasy. You're unfollowing them. You're free. The Hierophant is here dealing with these gatekeepers that filed false reporting on these High Priestesses. Oh, these gatekeepers are in trouble. Everybody who supported them, who benefited from the torment of these beautiful divine creatresses. Oh, there's a storm. They may say that she is chaos. They may say that she is dangerous. But the fact of the matter, this is a planetary mother and stabilizer. She's bringing about temperance. She's one with the mother. And these masculines and their religious whatevers who didn't want her to rise, didn't want her power to be seen, didn't want her to make the obvious known that So the Hierophant's here dealing with these gatekeepers, and we've got silence is another answer too, honey. Mixed signals and clear answers. So he could be gaining awareness of these gatekeepers' perceptions. They're undergoing a reality check. They're being silenced out of the minds of these divine feminines. They no longer have access to your beautiful mind. Your beautiful magical mind, source connected, receiving the fruits. These people have been tapping and your intellectual property and knowing, and then they've been shattering your heart and then claiming that stuff as though they were the teachers, but they've been violating and desecrating everything, using your love and your energy and then claiming that you were vile somehow. So they're making this Hierophant is causing these gatekeepers to go silent. So, Four of Pentacles, you could have, you're bringing some kind of security or control to this foundation. There's a circle here, a circle. So we've got on this circle, you're gathered together here as one. There's the buildings there. They're upside down in this picture, and it could just very well be that what goes up must come down. It could be that everybody's being shaken out of these spaces and places and actually coming together. Those who choose to come together as one rather than, I mean, you could have been coming from all of these various spaces in one circle. Let's see what else is going on here. Oh. Stop waiting. Romanticize your own damn life. Independence, joy, and creativity. So you've been alone for a very long time. You've learned how to buy yourself the flowers. I did that yesterday. I found a so super cool church that had been turned into a restaurant kind of a thing. It was so cool, man. I posted pictures about it. So we got hopes and fears. We got the 10 of Cups here. We've got childlike. Somebody can't sleep. Somebody can't sleep. You're innocent. You always were innocent. You're getting the 10 of Cups. Maybe it's time for you to recharge. We have a 5 of Pentacles here. Somebody could have bound your mother in some shadowy contract long ago. You're stopping. You're not romanticizing crumbs anymore. You've realized your self-worth. Somebody is, not every soul tie is forever. Not every soul tie is forever. I heard a few days back that people that had been bound in these types of contracts when they were very young, or, you know, that had been done in some kind of a history, that they're not able to continue on with these generational bindings of the children. So it's like you popped your head up. You popped your head up like they bound your mother or something long ago. They kept you in scarcity. They kept you in this containment. You're the child. Pop their head up. The child is here. We got contracts with the shadows. There could be 2. Take it as it resonates. But you're not settling for crumbs anymore. You've recognized your value. You were starving while calling it fine dining. You were settling for crumbs, denying yourself, keeping yourself in a 5 of Pentacles scarcity. It could have been that was a generational curse, a mindset. That's what they were doing with these mind things, man. They were cursing people's minds, like the consciousness. And here they're being made to go silent. They kept lying, filing false reports so that you could not be free. They wanted to keep you trapped, locked in. But now they're losing signal because not every soul tie is forever. There's detachment. This is impermanent, and you're being released from this scarcity, this plot and scheme of these ones taking from you, breaking your heart. And then calling the fragments, you know, plastic, cheap, recyclable, whatever. You're done recycling. Heartbreak, like a plastic bottle. You're done trying to heal in the space that broke you. You have been liberated. You're being released. Sometimes it's bad decisions. Not every drama is karma. So whoever these masculines were in the past, they made a lot of bad decisions when it came to these high priestesses and holding them back from their hierophant, from their elevation. He owes you nothing but silence. And that's it. You know, the reality is these people that made very bad decisions regarding their relationships with these high priestesses, they do not get to come where they're going. This heartbreak is not going to be recycled. It's done. They're being liberated from it. And these ones do not get a ticket to these high priestesses next season. Please do what you need to do with the genders. Look at it as energy if you need to. This is what's on the cards, okay? So you're allowed to outgrow people. You've evolved through the pain and the suffering of this, and now you are free of it. And those who said that love does not pay the rent, they wanted to exploit your womb, exploit your power, they are being held accountable for what they did to love. They chose somebody. Spiritual glow-ups do not come with filters. Healing isn't aesthetic. It's awkward. It's ugly. It feels like you're dying. It's messy. It looks like shit. But if you can keep your roots grounded and if you can release it into the tree of the mother, into the heart. If you look at a tree without its leaves, you can see it's just like a heart. And it's the heart and the lungs of the earth, of the mother. And it's amazing what she'll do for us in the middle of a storm that makes us appear messy to the outside world. She will ground us into that. This is shallow, a filter. It's a pretend, you know, and it's you know, if it's always neat and pretty and cute and it doesn't have depth, it is what it is. And rejection is just divine spam filter. So these ones who were just out there, spiritual glow-ups don't come with filters. These ones out there, they're getting a reality check. God didn't ghost you. He blocked him for you in divine timing. So there's protection, rejection. It says, congratulations, you sponsored the circus. So the Hierophant, the divine, the true divine, they are not choosing the glow-up gal. I mean, this blow-up gal or whatever, the filter. They're being rejected because they sponsored the circus. And, yeah, they're out there heartbroken, crying to the world, bringing chaos, pain, trauma. Your pain, High Priestess, you did not broadcast it to the world. You didn't vomit your suffering all over everybody. You alchemized it. And spiritual hygiene starts with laundry. Clean your room. That's the message. You've learned discipline. You took action. There is a reset here. You could be releasing the dead weight. You can't glow if you won't let go. So you are being, again, transformed and liberated. You're releasing the dead weight. You're doing your spiritual hygiene. You've done your spiritual hygiene. You've been trapped in this crap for a long time. You've realized and you've brought to the attention of others that messiness does not mean powerlessness and, you know, or powerless. And sometimes the storm is so freaking bad, you gotta really focus on where do you want to apply the 100% of you. What is it that's going to be pulling you through? Is it a pretty little foo-foo, whatever? I mean, I don't know, you know? Or is it getting down and dirty and grounding with the mother and doing the work and just crying, screaming, going out, you know, so accepting that sometimes it's ugly and it's embarrassing and it just is, but that's what it is, man. Sometimes it's a struggle. And as a high priestess, you know, it's it's my perception as part of my duty to experience, number one, first and foremost, 100% real. What is happening? You know, to feel it, to log it, to track it, to watch it, and then to measure how long does the attack last? What's its intensity? Because I know if it's happening to me, that it's happening to others, and if I can come up with a solution to can stop it, you know, if I can come up with just a small interference that will like crack the whatever bring an interference to the interference, you know, that somehow that is a service. And I feel that the research is valuable, even though it is very, very painful. And it looks like chaos. A lot of folks don't know that this is happening to them. They're just out there and they're getting upset and then their life is shit for the day. And they don't understand that it's a manipulation. So what can we put into the temple that can fortify it against such attack, you know? I mean, that's just where I'm at with it. So signs are everywhere. The volume is still on mute. Spirit is typing, but these folks aren't listening. They're obsessed. They're like, they're trying to refresh. They're like, refresh. Spirit is talking, talk. But these people are focused on these high priestesses here coming into union with the hierophants, their high priests. And they're like, no. But the universe does not take X-back requests. And the fact of the matter is that you made it out alive, but barely, okay? And the universe is not giving you back. You are connecting with the proper connections, and that's just the way that it is. There are clear boundaries being set here. Twitter was never your therapist. You're not out there crying about it. You're taking off the hoodie and you're burning it. You're releasing the past because nobody's coming to steal your spotlight, hun. No, you are not on clearance. You're the real deal and you're out here looking like a storm. And it's like, hey, be careful if you want to step into my atmosphere because it might just not feel too good. You might come out looking like this. Just be careful. Because nothing hotter than saying no. Boundaries are sexy, babe. Just make sure you just keep your distance. Be my advice. This is day 4. This is day 4. The Hierophants making these gatekeepers go silent. They cannot tap your consciousness anymore. They cannot push in these soap operas of destabilization. Day 4. So the Emperor is inspired by you, Divine Feminine, because you were very patient during your struggle. Yes, it sucked. No, you didn't die. No, you're not dying. Yeah, it just sucked really, 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 really bad. But you were patient through the struggle. You found your seeds of resilience, of perseverance. Maybe, like me, you could have been very impressed by what you found the Creator had seeded in you when you were going. You may have thought that this was impossible, that you could have never pulled through something like this, but you did. And it's like, wow, look what the divine seeded in me, man. I'm still alive. That's incredible. So you're giving your thumbs a rest. We got delete the text, block the number, reclaiming your peace. This is closure. You got a detachment here. You're being released by whatever this struggle is. And it could have gone on a very, very, very long time. I heard the curator talking about mental instability or insanity or something like that. And then I heard a masculine tell him that there was like 20 plus years or something that they had been doing mental magic over somebody. And that like it was a daily practice, and that this is all coming back on their tribe. Whatever tribe this is. Like all of that daily magic that they did on one person is all coming back on them. So that is wild to me to think about. They're really upset about it. Your family. You're being released by your family, from a family, by your ancestors. These people were filing false reports to the ancestors for lifetimes, centuries, keeping the wealth of you and everything that you have accrued, the value of your soul, from your Star Nation soul tribe for centuries. Eight of Pentacles, you've got the mind of an apprentice. You're very diligent when it comes to learning the skills necessary to move you through whatever it is you're going through. You've mastered yourself. You've mastered a circumstance. You've been able to manifest something here within your mind. There's an awakening. Awakening. You could have transformed the connection with Source. We're not recycling heartbreak. That isn't a souvenir we want to keep. You're letting it go. We're being liberated from those who have constantly shattered our love. Somebody's effed up over you because you don't trust chaos. You're calling judgment over what they've been doing to the minds of you, of people, of these high priestesses. with their Seven of Cups illusions regarding the love of their mind, of whatever it is they got. So messy does not mean powerless. Chaos is your superpower, Divine Feminine. You are the storm, Mother Nature. And these ones tried to say that because you weren't all neat and tidy all the time, that meant that you were not powerful, that you were not goddess-like, worthy of being a high priestess. But your roots run very deep. It is said by these adversaries, that I call them, that you went deeper than they thought, that you went down into these deep places. You like made friends there. Like you helped people with your energy. And you're rooted there deeply. So that when you're up here undergoing this storm, these magical storm of these sorcerers and stuff, and it felt like you were dying, you didn't. You were able to bend without breaking, like a very grand and majestic tree. So now this Emperor has stopped giving idiots spiritual credit because they can see very clearly the blunt truth of you. You're faithful, you're loyal. You've always been a royal type of an energy, severely abused. There's been a lot of illusions cast about the Divine Feminines here in this space, while they've been prostituted either in the flesh, in the mental body, or in the energy, as they were kept single, away from their match for centuries. You got the Chariot here. You've made progress with your with what it is you're moving forward. So you're moving forward. You got a victory. You're moving forward. You've gained a lot of information here with the Hermit energy. You've been researching the inward mechanism. So this is the temple housing spirit and soul, right? And then you've got the mirror, or the dish, like a dish network or whatever, that receives information from outside sources, much like your television or whatever. You're picking up signal in the mental body because this is your transmitter receiver. It's not too complicated. So we got let go already. You've learned your karmic lessons. These people got to let go. This mental body does not belong to them. You've learned your karmic lessons. You learned your karmic lessons a long, long time ago, but they have been falsely filing reports on you so that they can keep you trapped here and use you and abuse you and call themselves conquerors. Because if they had you, then that means your high priest didn't have you. So they twisted the consciousness, the mindset of what it is you needed to be in order to qualify. But you had to rise. You had to poke your head up out of this damn freaking binding, and you had to come out of it swinging, you know, or however that works, however that worked for you. But the High Priestess is here with the Hierophant right now, and he's making everybody leave her mind. And they're not happy. They're seeking spiritual advice. They're going crazy. The mental magic that they did for decades upon a person, trying to get them institutionalized and receive a failure so that they could trap the High Priestess and then wear the little necklace claiming that they were that. No, now they need to go through the growth. They need to go through the journey. Page of Swords energy. They need to go through the journey. If they want to be considered such a being, they have to go become it. So they're being disconnected from the High Priestess. They betrayed the High Priestess, so they're being disconnected. They're uneasy. They're being unfollowed. This is like a filter. They were pretending. They're stalking you. They could be crying. They're stalking you. They're messed up because you're free. The Hierophant is free. He's not choosing the wannabe because the High Priestess is actually here. And all of that and all of that. But the beautiful thing about it is that he's making all of these other ones go silent. So whatever chaos is born in the mind will be the basic, you know, I guess, truth of it, the reality of it, and not something that's being actually pushed in or driven into, because it looks like the Hierophant is putting an end to that kind of technology or magical messiness. Yeah, you are free. Look, your spiritual gifts. They're comparing themselves to you, High Priestess, and they're upset because this Hierophant is disconnecting from them, because the High Priestess is seated right there. Yeah, he's fed up. He is fed up. Fed up. Yep. People are going silent. Mixed signals are clear answers. The gatekeepers got it wrong. They kept changing their story. They kept contradicting themselves when it came to this High Priestess. They're wearing filters. They're pretending. It's very obvious that they're not transparent and authentic. If they were, they would be very clearly showing themselves in the storm. Rooted, grounded, tempered. Could be a little messy, because the storms are typically. But that's stationary power right there. Source connected. In the middle of a storm. So 4 of Pentacles is here in the environment. We've got a circle. We've got stop waiting, romanticize. Romanticize your own damn life. Independence, joy, creativity. We've got married. Ooh, and running. So what? Those who wanted to control your foundation, perhaps. Those who left you in this state of weariness. You're just weary. You're done with it. You don't want to deal with this anymore. The whole circle of people that perhaps tried to turn your world upside down. Maybe they're being flipped. They wanted to romanticize their own life. Or maybe you have been. Maybe you've found joy just by being with yourself and that source connection. And maybe now you are married, or maybe there's a married couple who is running. Maybe those who wanted you to be single. Maybe you're not waiting anymore. Maybe you actually are getting married. Maybe you belong to a circle of people who are in control of the foundation now, and you've got people running. Let's see. They're losing sleep. Somebody's running. They're worried. They're replaying the events, thinking about you, what it is that happened, what you've been through. Apparently, the lifetime story of you is really, really scary. You may not have memory of everything they've done to you, but it's very fearful, apparently. And your soul probably remembers that, which may be why sometimes when these lower vibrational energies enter your field or something, you could feel a very dense fear type of energy in your solar plexus, because you may have had previous lifetimes of some kind of a suffering connection with that energy. So just know if you're sitting in your house and all of a sudden you feel an energy that's dense like fear, it just means that there's somebody there in your energy, and you just need to breathe into it and be grateful, because the energy of gratitude dissipates that energy very quickly. They don't like the frequency of gratitude or love. Sing a song, dance. So we got the Ten of Cups here, childlike. Somebody can't sleep. Somebody's not able to sleep. Nap culture, workplace affair. They're sleeping with people at work, couch hopping, bed hopping. They don't really have a place to live. This is how they get along. They don't know where to sleep. You're getting a Ten of Cups. There's a celebration because you're innocent. They can't sleep. Five of Pentacles. Somebody's in a Five of Pentacles. Shadow contracts. With the shadow, you have found your self-worth. You have stopped romanticizing crumbs. Somebody's losing signal. Not every soul tie is forever. It's like these contracts that were made in the shadows, while for the children and their families or whatever that had been bound. It's like not every contract is forever. You're no longer taking crumbs. They're losing signals. There's a detachment. These contracts, these soul ties, were not forever. We're closing the cycle of these toxic lifestyles. So we're closing the cycle of toxic people feeding on the divine, feeding on these actual high priestesses that had been kept away from their Hierophant. And it could very well be that these glow up ones, the ones that were using filters and pretending and just keeping things real shallow and just looking real pretty and smelling real good and stuff, maybe they're realizing the difference, you know. What did they call it? They said high maintenance versus high quality. He said that like 18 months ago when he was instructing the men and the youngers and everybody as to what they were looking for. They were looking for not high maintenance, but high quality. And high quality means energy. Can you remain grounded? Can you remain connected to the mother? Can you remain settled? Can chaos be your superpower? Can that tree remain standing and firm and grounded when a storm from out of the freaking universe somewhere comes in and tries to dismantle your family? That's value. And so Divine Masculine has stopped giving spiritual credit to idiots, people who cannot stand firm in their faith. And that's the blunt truth. We need depth. Families that can withstand storms of these entities coming in, these principalities or whatever coming in, trying to dismantle everybody, trying to feed on everybody while living a toxic lifestyle and then blaming the energy. And it's been a crazy thing, hasn't it? All right. So there is a trap. So we're closing the cycle of those who have a toxic lifestyle, feeding on the apples, on the divine, on the daughters of Eden, these high priestesses. They're trapped. And whatever you're doing is a secret. Like they're being blocked. They're being blocked. They're being cut out of your consciousness. They can no longer tap into you. And it's like, let go already. And it's like whoever's been listening to your mind, they're also listening to these ones push in their soap operas. They're push in their nastiness, drive their mean movie through you. And you, as a super sensitive empath, you sometimes might get confused. I don't know, because you're a high priestess. But a while back, sometime before you knew, you may have been confused about that. Like, why is this thought in my head? Why does it feel so freaking bad? Why do I just want to wring somebody's neck? Well, that's why. It's a program. It's a Wi-Fi freaking program coming through your very sensitive, very delicate transmitter, receiver, divine. And it does not belong to you. It never did. They were filing false reports. You're picking up on the atmosphere and the dangers that it provides the family, just as you were meant to do. But that danger never was you, and it never came from you, and it never belonged to you. Your protector failed you and allowed false reporting to happen, lifetime after lifetime. And now this is bad news, because they chose somebody else. They chose somebody that was not the apple, the daughter of Eden. You are free of this. You're moving on. You're letting it go. They wanted to be free, and now they're getting readings, and the readings say they got to go to the police station. They're going to get arrested because you're getting your wish. You get to go live the life that they took from you, the life of luxury. You get to go have a life of ease and grace, connected to the divine, the Holy Spirit, that which, you're reconnected. So, reminder to self and a reminder to whoever wants to be reminded. I don't know. It's a topic for thought constantly. Like, where are we? What are we doing in this moment? Am I utilizing my time wisely? Am I in research mode? Is it time for me to relax? Is it time to let it go? Am I having a conscious experience? Or is life happening to me? This kind of stuff. Somebody's been heartbroken. Somebody who has so somebody's heartbroken. This sex addict is heartbroken over the mirror. I heard that, because they were putting their crap into your mirror. You were pouring love in, and they were mirroring your love. But they were trying to mirror your love and your illumination, but you have illuminated the truth of it. They were just doing it, and they were not doing anything. They were not doing the work. So Divine Feminine is a beloved child of the Most High God who has been trapped here for centuries while being lied about horrendously. And yes, because they wanted, look, twin flames, there's a funeral here. Twin flames are bringing a funeral or an ending to the illusionist, the trickster phony. Yeah, so now it's done, because the High Priestess is here with the Hierophant, this mask wearer, this pretend you who is trying to pretend that they were like you, you're turning your back. Ghosting, detached. They're drinking to cope, because the true colors are seen on the pathway, on the path they chose or whatever. They were happy being single and doing love spells on people, bumping heads with people, gaining intellectual property that way. And so now somebody could be having massive regrets for saying goodbye to you, for saying they didn't want any strings attached to you, and for messing with your feelings, keeping you going round and round and round, triggering you, hurting your feelings, keeping you alone. They could be feeling like shit, this shady mask wearer, the one who was pretending to be you. They got to go eat all of that nasty magic that they were pushing in on you. It's their responsibility. Everything that they poured into your mirror is their responsibility. It belonged to them the whole time. They left you alone. They romanced you, popped the question, left you alone. And there's legal matters. There's legal matters, because you're a queen bee. You're a queen bee who had gotten waylaid by some fake spiritual guru with their triangular whatever, I love you, contractual thing. But this psycho thought of you as an enemy. They were sleeping with their enemies, contracting with their enemies, and then harvesting them. So this is shocking news to a thug. You're rejecting them. They're being rejected. Reckless sex is being rejected. The Hierophant is here looking at these High Priestesses. They're very high value. You could be celibate. You're focusing on transforming, on alchemizing. You're on grounding, on staying stable in this storm that's trying to magically upend you, shatter you, rip you from the ground, from your own self. Well, they're in a firestorm. There's a jackass here who's in a firestorm of karma. It's just whipping around them. It could be going through their mind. They no longer have credit with the divine masculine because of the backstabbing and the deception in the history with Jezebel. They were sending up Jezebel and trapping the high priestesses, and then they were bumping heads, and then they were pretending. And cleanliness is next to godliness, while the true divine feminine is down here holding stability the best she can for this realm while getting shit upon and drained and harvested. Isn't that something? It's too late for them now. It's too late for Mr. Arrogant, Mr. My Way or the Highway to sweet talk you. You just don't really even care, because they were side hustling you. They were sacrificing you, leaving you hanging, and then side hustling you. And now they're ashamed. Now they're ashamed about their karmic ties, about what they've become, about what they chose to be, and what they chose to do with the high priestess, who is all by herself out there in solitude, with the source connection, of course, grounded deeply into the mother. Well, that's interesting. I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. I hope that it brings clarity to something you already intuitively knew. High priestesses, it seems to me that you have actually been liberated. If not in the 3D space, you're probably going to, at some point, be united with your person, your true match. It seems that this really is coming to an end because people have recognized that messy does not mean powerless. In fact, messy is because of the storm that a high priestess may be going through, or a high priest, take as it resonates. But the miracle comes in the very, very, very well-rooted system. The root, what is good for the crown is good for the root. And so when the root can root deeply, when the root can provide nourishment deeply, and that's, I feel, what these high priestesses did. They went deeper than these antagonists thought that they were going to go. I mean, they went deep, 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 deep. And some of them may have been, like, the creator may have, like, dropped them in some way that everybody thought was this freaking storm. They're like, oh, look out for that one. She's insane, right? Well, that's because she had insanity being driven through her. And she had her life being driven into this thing. And she went down there deeper than they thought she was going to. And she rooted the energy. And it took a long time, many life cycles apparently, to get grounded within that system of things and then to reach up and gain the crown. So now what is good for the crown is good for the roots, and the roots are rooted very, very deeply. And the other day I was like, hey, she claimed them, you know, and it's like, no, that's not what that meant. Not necessarily as an ownership. It just meant that the area, you know, is now planted with that root system, which then receives the nutrients of the crown. It's a weird way that I'm looking at it. It's the way Spirit's giving me to explain it. To me, it seems the most logical. We got attacked by a bunch of bark beetles here in the middle ground, and they kind of chewed the bark off the tree, and they kind of broke the bridge between the root system and the crown, and then, you know, everything became unstable. But these high priestesses were able to do it, and this emperor is very inspired by you really sitting with it. And you didn't Twitter mess all over it, you know? You didn't, like, you were out there. Everything that you do is very positive, uplifting. It had to be in order to stay grounded. If you allow the storm to carry you away, then, you know, before your roots can take hold, then there goes your tree, man. Right? Alrighty then. Well, that's that. See you on the next one.